Today, we print and play Haunt the House. Hey guys, what's going on? It's Lee from Geek City USA here. And this week, I took a look at a game called Haunt the House. So Haunt the House is on Kickstarter right now. And if you go to their page, there's still about, I think, a week and a half to go in the campaign. But if you go to the page, there's a link on there for a print and play for kind of like a mini abbreviated copy of the game. So fully functional. The only thing that's lacking is I think there are fewer rooms and there's not quite as many ghost hunters that you can try to scare away. So it's enough of the game for you to really get a good feel for how the game is. So I had a chance to do a real brief print and play on that, just real quick throw together to get a vibe for the game. And I sat down with my wife and my oldest son, who is 11, to kind of see how that game plays. So let's take a look first at the gameplay, and then we'll come back at the end and I will give you our reaction to the game. So take a look. All right, guys. So this is Haunt the House. So again, this is a print and play that I made up based on some demo files that were loaded on the Kickstarter page. So this is definitely not a high quality print and play. This is just something I threw together quickly to give the game a shot. So first I'm going to explain kind of a quick overview on how to play the game. So we are ghosts and we are trying to scare away ghost hunters. And throughout the game, the ghost hunters are going to appear in each of these different rooms. So you set up four for a 3 or 4 player game, and only 3 of them in a 2-player game. So then what you're going to do is these are the different ghost hunters that will populate the room. So you'll place one randomly in each of these locations to start the game. So let me just throw 4 out here real quick. And then you'll see here that each ghost hunter has a couple of items here listed at the bottom, and that's what you need in order to scare them away. So then if you look at each player will get their own scare deck, and it includes a number of different cards sporting those same logos. So like this here is a bump card, this is a creak, this is a chill, and this is a moan. So the idea is when it's your turn, you're going to have some cards and you're going to play them in the hopes of matching the symbols to scare away the ghost hunters. So when you do the setup, your initial setup, you lay down the ghost hunters, and for each player, you're going to shuffle your deck, your scare deck, and you're going to draw 3 cards, right? So 3 from each player. In addition to the setup, each player is going to get a trophy card. There's blue trophies, and these ones that look brown are the red trophies. Let me see, so there's not a glare on them. Okay, so everybody's going to get one at random. And just so happens I set up for 4 players, so we will deal out all 4 of them. Now what these are, is these match the symbols that are also located in the upper left-hand corner of these ghost hunters. So these help for endgame scoring. So you keep these secrets. Whatever trophies that you are randomly dealt, and there's a bit of a set collection happening. So, for example, if these were my cards, if I had a flashlight and a key, I would want to ideally scare away ghost hunters that have a key or a flashlight, because the way the end of game scoring goes is if you, let's say I scare away this many ghost hunters. That's too many. This many ghost hunters, and these were, the trophies that I have. You score 1 point if you have 1 of an item. If you have 2 of an item, each are worth 2 points. If you have 3 of an item, they're worth 3 points each. And you also count your trophies. So, as you see here, I have 1 lantern, so that would be 1 point. And I have 2 torches, so that would be 4 points. I have, 1 map, that's 1 point. I have 1 key, but I have another key here, my trophies. So that would be worth 2 points and then 2 points, so 4 points. And then same thing with the flashlight, so that would be 4 points. So you're keeping these secrets, so you're kind of working, you're going to check out the board and you're going to kind of figure out who you want to go to get the most points. Okay? So that's that. Now I'm going to show you first kind of more the family method for playing, and then I'll show you an advanced, I say advanced, but it really, I don't know that it's too much advanced, but with my 11-year-old, we tried it first without, and then we used these the Phantoms during our second run through. So okay, so here's what you do. So it's your turn. Everybody's going to have 3 cards, and I have 2 options. So I can do 2 actions. If I have 0 or 1 cards, I can use an action to draw up to 3 cards. Okay, then I have an option of I can also lay a card face up, lay a card face down, or I can yell boo. Now, if I yell boo, you can't do any other actions. That is the only action you get to take. But we'll get to that in a minute here. So let's say it's my turn, and so my goal again is to scare away the ghost hunters. So I can play face down, like see this is a moan card. I can play it face down on this ghost hunter. Now no other players will know whether I played a moan, a chill, or if I'm bluffing and I'm playing something else entirely. So when you play it face down, it goes face down, and that's the end of it. If you play it face up, like this one here, I'll play a chill, I'll play it face up, you get to perform the action. Each room has an action. So like this one, if I play a card face up, I get to take the action. And this one says peek at one room's face down scares. So you would get to look at one of these rooms, you'd look at the scares that are face down. This one here lets you draw 1 phantom or gain 1 skull token. Now, an important point to note is these skull tokens are kind of used as victory points in the game. So every skull token at the end of the game is worth 1 point. So you'll see here, like this ghost hunter, not only does he have like a hook, he also has 2 skulls. So he would also be worth 2 points. So okay, let's say I played those 2 cards. I would then draw up to 3 cards, and that's my turn. Next person in line, they would do the same thing. So okay, I'll play this face up because I want to get a skull to get a point that I can't pick up. There we go. And then I am going to play a chill face down on this. And then I will draw up whichever deck is my deck. There we go. There's 2. Next player comes through, same thing. Now let's put this here. We'll put this one face up, just for the sake of playing. Draw 2 cards. I think this will be his deck, right? Yep. So now the last player, this guy, I'm going to come up here and I'm going to say, you know what? There's a bunch of cards here. I'm going to yell boo. So when you yell boo, the first thing you do is you're going to flip over the cards that are face down, the hidden scares, the invisible scares. And you're going to kind of resolve these. So you're going to look, anybody who has a match that matches one of the requirements, they would get a victory point. So if you have 1 or 3 cards, it doesn't matter, you only get 1 skull token. So each player, the purple player, the pink player, and the orange player each get a skull token, right? So they each get a point. Now, you look and say, okay, can I satisfy this? Do I scare this ghost hunter? I definitely have enough of the chill, or of the moans, and I have 3 chills. Yes! So I would scare this guy away, which would give me 2 points and I guess it's a rope or a hook, a grappling hook. So I would keep that face up in front of me. Now, once that's done, I would take this room, I would discard it, draw a new room, put it out there, and then draw a new ghost hunter to go in there. And these cards go back into their owner's discard piles. Now, let's say that this was like this, and yeah, whatever, I'll just say all these are face down. And I yelled boo. And if I look at these cards, I would look and say, uh-oh, I need 2 creeks and 2 books, which were the bump. And I don't have that here, of these cards that are face down, or of the cards that are face up. I don't have enough to scare the room. I can look in my deck, and if I have any in my deck, or not in my deck, but in my hand, I can fill the blanks with that. So if I have enough in my hand to complete the scare, then yay, I get that ghost hunter and those, those points or whatever at the end of the game. If I don't have enough, it's a failed boo, and basically what happens is any of the scares that were face down go to the discard pile of, whoever had placed those originally, so they are no longer on that ghost hunter. And any that were face up remain. Right, so you can kind of clear out a room, you can bluff somebody to take their turn, and then they yell boo and they don't end up getting anything. One important thing that I failed to mention, when you're doing a scare, when you do an invisible scare and play a card face down, you can play whatever card you want. It doesn't matter if it matches what's needed or not. When you play a face up scare, it has to match what they need. So this one needs 2 bumps and 2 creaks. So I have 1 creak there, I could play another creak, I have 1 bump there, I could play another bump or 2 creaks. If there were 2 creaks up there face up, even though this is required for this Ghost Hunter, I cannot play it because that requirement has already been met. I could play it face down if I wanted to, but I can't play it face up. So now you continue this and you continue scaring ghost hunters away until somebody gets 4 ghost hunters. Once you scare 4 and you get 4 in front of you, everybody else gets one last opportunity to yell boo to hopefully collect some points, and then the game ends. And then what you would do is go through and you would score based on skull tokens, and then count like I showed earlier, the number of icons you have to see how many points you get there, and then the person with the most points at the end of the game wins. And that's the basic game. That's the basic premise of the basic game. Okay, so now let's bring up these phantom cards, okay? And boom, we are fairly organized again. The power of editing. Okay, so you see now that I left these faced up now just so you could see them. But every card has a cube above it. Every player has a cube. So these are meeples in the actual game. However, for this I just used cubes just for this illustration. So the way these phantom cards work, so you'll see here each phantom is worth either positive or negative points, but then lets you do something. So like this phantom lets you pick a player, and that player must discard down to 1 scare in their hand. This one's invisible. It says, play when another player targets you with an attack, they must pick a different target or no target. This card is worth 2 skull points if you, I think it says if you booed at game end. Howling, this one draw 3 scares. Now, when you get these, you can play 1 per turn and it does not cost an action. So here's how you get these. So if you remember before, as you're scaring, you're putting cards face down, some cards are going face up. What have you. All right, now this guy is going to call boo on this deck. You flip over the invisible scares, and you see that both these people were telling the truth, so each of them would put a meeple on the phantom deck. And then you resolve this, whether you scare them away or not. This would be a failed boo, so these would go back in the player discard pile, and this would continue to sit here. So now we move to this. Now, if you remember before, they would get 1 skull token, 1 point basically, for having, told the truth of the invisible scare. However, when you play with the phantoms, there's a new element now. You can choose to either take a point, or you can draw 2 phantom cards and choose 1 to keep. So if I were to draw these 2, I would say, okay, I'm going to keep this one for sake of argument. Then, on my turn, again, I can choose to play this. Discard any 2 face-up scares from the table. So I could play this during my turn. It does not count as an action, and I can get rid of this off here if I wanted to. So it kind of adds an additional take that, screw your neighbor element to the game. So yeah, and that, in a nutshell, is how to play Haunt the House. Now I'm going to take it back up top, and I will give you my final review. All right, so Haunt the House. So Haunt the House is a kind of a Halloween-themed game, or a ghost-themed game for ages 8 and up. So I was instantly drawn to that. As you know, I have a couple of kids, And I do a lot of gaming with my buddies and with my wife and with our friends and so on, but anytime there's a chance to play a game that I think my kids can get involved in, especially always the older one, but if I can involve the younger kids, even better, right? So I printed this game out, real quickly threw it together, sat down with my wife and my oldest son to do a run through on it. And it was an instant hit. It really, really was. So we sat down, I explained the rules in literally less than 5 minutes. Everybody understood right away how to play. And we started our game. Now, we probably played for about 45 minutes, 30 to 45 minutes, and that was getting used to the game and, you know, doing some additional explanation of some strategy ideas to my son. But all in all, the game was a hit. So we loved the game. The family attraction to it is great. So again, my son is 11 years old. He clicked with it. He loved it. He got it. He actually almost won the game. So let's talk about the art. The art was really good. The Ghost Hunter art was clever and funny. The scare cards were very easy to understand, so you knew at a glance at what they were. And not only that, but so this game's for 4 players. Each player has their own color deck. Now, not only is the background of the card colored a certain color, but it also has a pattern to it. So I do think that it would be colorblind friendly as well. So that was a nice feature right off the bat. The Phantom cards look good as well. The room cards look good. Art across the board is a win. Let's talk about the gameplay. So the gameplay was really easy to understand. It played really, really smooth. If you're playing with people who are seasoned gamers, you can actually get really deep with the different strategy and the bluffing and kind of almost like the screw your neighbor kind of mentality to it, which was great. So in addition to that, the part that shines for us is that this was super family friendly. So my son clicked on it, he loved it. He got it right away. It's something we could play with him, we could play with my middle son probably. Have to do a little help with the reading and help with the understanding, but I think we could probably bring it down a notch in complexity that he could really enjoy it as well. One thing I thought of is this would be great with casual gamers that, let's say your family, when you get together with some family members that aren't into playing games or aren't into playing anything outside of Uno. And I think this would click with them. Now, I don't want to say that in a way that says this game is on par with Uno, because it's not. This game is much more than that, but I think the game is easy enough that the non-seasoned gamers would really be able to click with it. You throw in the Phantom cards, it adds an additional level of, I don't want to say complexity, but strategy, because then you're left with the, do I take some additional victory points, you know, some extra skulls, or do I try to take one of these cards to get a leg up and maybe, you know, stab my neighbor in the back, or maybe get some kind of added benefit. So that was fantastic as well. As far as the game length goes, I think that the game length is perfect. I think you could probably knock a game out in under 30 minutes. As you know what's going on. I think 30 minutes is a safe estimate, but overall, we love the game. We loved being able to jump up and say boo and you're gonna steal that Ghost Hunter from me, and then, you know, my wife would yell boo and she'd flip the cards and she was one card away. You know, she lost the game. That doesn't happen often. I won. That doesn't happen often. So overall, this game definitely gets 2 thumbs up. I liked it, my son liked it, my wife liked it. So all in all, this game is definitely recommended. I would definitely back it on Kickstarter if the Kickstarter is still going on. If the Kickstarter is over, keep an eye out for retail for this, because I think this is definitely one to put in the collection. I think it would fit well with the Ticket to Rides, with the maybe even the Catans, with the Fluxes, the entry-level games that draw people in. All right, guys, thanks for checking us out. Be sure to please like, comment, subscribe, interact with you guys in the comments if you post down there. If you have questions or feedback, love to hear from you guys. Again, thanks for checking us out. I'm Lee from Geek City, and I'll see you next time.